I'm
Hey,
ready.
hi everyone, it's the interview queen, Alicia Atout here, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to my interview with Brian Pillman Jr. Welcome!
How are you? How are you? Good to see you, Alicia.
Good to see you too. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. The New Year's going great. I'm feeling great, healthier than ever, more motivated than ever. We're gonna turn this year around.
I definitely hope that's the case. I mean, before we get into talking about what you've been up to, I have to ask, how is the rap career coming along?
No, it's actually funny because we've had a few rappers coming into AEW recently with Max Caster, and then Austin Gunn put out a really good freestyle as well, and so there's a lot of competition in that area, and so I've been kind of waiting in the wings and biding my time. But I told them, when the time comes and they want to do a freestyle battle, I like to go off the cuff. I don't write my music. I just let it flow.
I'm excited to listen to it, definitely, when
Yeah.
that
But
drops.
we have some good rappers at AEW. It's pretty funny.
Definitely. And I'm glad that you brought up AEW because recently fans have been watching you on there. So was wrestling for them a goal of yours for quite some time? And how psyched were you when you actually realized this was going to be a fairly frequent thing?
Yeah, it's weird because my whole introduction into the wrestling business and kind of coming in and like getting into wrestling was because of the main stars at AEW, because of guys like Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. So it's like when I started breaking in, those were the guys. That was the move. It was they were taking over Ring of Honor. They were taking over all the indies, and that sort of movement, that revolution of let's stick it to the man. Like let's create our own company. Like let's show people that there's more to wrestling, and there's more options and there is an alternative. That was always so inspiring to me as someone who didn't, I've always been sort of that rebellious nature as a kid. I've always kind of grew up and never wanted to, take orders from the corporate boss. So it's kind of cool to see a bunch of guys banding together and creating a revolution in the wrestling business. And so to finally be a part of that, no, it's really neat, and it's a very fulfilling prophecy for me, right? It's a self-fulfilling thing where I set my mind on the goal. I saw the guys that I wanted to be in the wings with, and then just this week, Wednesday, I'm in the wings with them. I'm in the locker room with them, and I'm looking around and I'm like, is this real? Like, am I really here? Like, this is great.
That makes me so happy for you because you're one of those guys where you were really starting to break in was kind of when I had my foot in the door as well. And I remember seeing you at shows and everything, and the next thing you know, like you're appearing at the companies I'm appearing at, and you just
Mhm.
bust your butt behind the scenes. So congratulations on that. I'm really psyched for you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we go way back, Alicia. And I've always been a fan of just meeting with the fans and going to the cons and doing all the things that we can't do much of anymore. Connecting with all those people. So it definitely is a different time now, but there's a lot we can do with the internet. There's a lot we can do with social media to kind of keep wrestling alive. So
Well, something social media seems to really enjoy as of late is the Varsity Blondes, yourself and Griffin. So I know that the blonde part came from Tony Khan backstage always calling you to the blondes, but why did you decide to take that whole varsity route as well?
I thought it was a unique throwback to the Hollywood Blondes of my dad and Steve Austin, and I know that a lot of Tony's fandom and his creative inspiration kind of comes from that era of wrestling. He's very inspired by that era of wrestling. So I thought, you know what? Why don't we take our own little spin on it? And being that Griff Garrison, his gimmick was sort of the Ivy League athlete. I thought, why don't we own instead of keeping the Ivy League, but we can still own that sort of style of gimmick, but make it our own. We can take the Hollywood Blondes, but make it our own. So I just took all these ideas together. I morphed them into one thing, and I'm very inspired by it too because I was a high school and a college athlete. I played football and lacrosse, and Griff had played football and things too. So it was really cool to bring that together, and it was just so organic. I was like, oh, like it's easy. We're the Varsity Blondes. It comes off the tongue good. It's like Varsity Blues. So there's a lot of little inspirations that kind of ticked off with that, And then I got the gear made. We had the matching gear, and then we got our song, and then we were off to the races. You know,
Totally.
that's all you need.
I love when things like that happen and it's so organic and least expected. And next thing you know, you're just ready to go. Like when it's so easy that you don't have to think about it, you know you have something good at that point.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't want to ever force anything, and you don't want to ever do something you're not comfortable with. It's always be yourself. Turn it up to 11, and take it from there. You know.
Right. Well, you're not only in AEW, but also my home promotion of MLW. And I was so psyched knowing we'd both be working for the same brand. So, how cool is it for you to be able to bounce around to all these different amazing promotions and do your thing? Because that freedom in wrestling when you're signed just really isn't there for most people.
Yeah, I've been in a unique situation. I've been appearing on OVW television, MLW television, and AEW television all simultaneously. So to be a unique talent that's featured on so many different screens on so many different networks across the world is a true honor. It's a great opportunity. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I want to continue to keep challenging for that MLW middleweight title. I know I have a challenge coming up soon against Leo Rush. I'm going to challenge him for that title. But at the same time, I'm being spread thin by so many opportunities. So I need to hone in. I need to dial in on the company that is most important to me right now at this time in this transition period for me. And right now, that's my focus is going to be on AEW. But I'm not gonna leave MLW without at least challenging one more time for that middleweight title.
Definitely look forward to that matchup. And I know we've been talking quite a bit about wrestling, but you are one of my favorite people to follow on Twitter because you are just so blunt with what you share. And you shared something the other day that I couldn't agree with more, and it's the fact that you really like McDonald's because I honestly think that they have the best fries ever. And if anyone disagrees, fight me. So did you
Yeah,
kind of ruffle some feathers with that tweet?
I
How did
know,
that
I
all
know. Well, it's one of those things everybody's afraid to admit it, but
right?
we all know that McDonald's is the king, the Golden Arches, reign king. It just came to me one day, and I was like, you know what? Tired of all the hate. Tired of people hating on the fries. I think the quarter pounders are good. I think the McChickens are good.
Right.
I think the fries are good. I think the McRib is good. I think the Big Macs are good. I think, shoot, I mean, I think their
Filet
breakfast is
fish?
good. I like the fish sandwich too. I love a fillet of fish. They're at the 2 for $5 right now. I think
You're
their
really
ice. I,
first with their menu.
I think their iced coffee is good.
Their iced cream is good.
They got the. I mean, they got a lot of they got a lot of good shit. So, and I just think
Definitely.
it's one of those underrated things where everybody's like they know they love it, but they hate to admit it. So I
I
just
couldn't
I
agree.
had to, I had to come clean. My controversial hot takes are pretty much going to be involving food and cats and dogs from now on. So I've given up my I've given up my career on political hot takes. And the climate of today's world is very very volatile. So I'm no politician. I'm just a wrestler. I do what I love, and I try to make sure I do that as safely as I can, and for the betterment of the humankind. But a lot of people in wrestling they like to get political, and that's not going to be me anymore. The craziest thing you'll hear about me is about McDonald's. So
I'm in the same boat. I try to stay and veer away from those certain topics, and a lot of my tweets happen to be about food and my dog. So that's
yeah,
what the,
yeah,
the quality
yeah.
content you'll be getting
And there's
from
no
Pillman.
shame in that. Everybody's like, oh, well, why didn't you say, if you stay silent to say the other, and I don't think so. I think silence is an act of peace. I think we could all use a little more silence and a lot more listening. And I've
Right.
been doing a
Well
lot of
said.
that lately. I've been listening to people, and I've been reading, and I've been studying, and I've been learning more about what we're going through every day in this world. So people would be maybe wiser to listen more and speak less, ill of each other. We're all in this together. We're all humans, and we're all going to survive this. So it's been a wild year, 2020, but 2021 is already looking better all around the
Right.
world. So
Definitely.
And
Well, right now,
all the fast food places are going to be great in 2021.
you need to start like a fast food vlog or something. It's definitely something people would
I need to
watch.
quit eating like what I need to do is quit eating like garbage. So hopefully when I move here to Florida, I'll quit eating like garbage.
Well, as I look at you, one of the things that you always have to think about and associate with Brian Pillman Jr. is the mullet. It is one of the things you are known for. People always talk about it. So, how much did you laugh when you realized that there's actually an official Brian Pillman's mullet account?
That was great. You know, MJF has had his scarf out there for a while, and I always thought that account was funny. And then Hammerstone got his biceps out there, and now they have Pillman's mullet. So, for a long time, this hair has been carrying my career. It has taken me all over the world to Qatar, in the Middle East, to Tijuana, Mexico, all over Calgary, Ottawa, Canada, all these different places. Every state in the U.S. I've wrestled in with this mullet. So this mullet has been everywhere but Japan. I've been to England as well. So I owe it all to my hair.
Are you going to keep this thing for forever? Is that the plan?
Oh, I love it so much. It is who I am. It is part of my identity. But something tells me that down the road, there's going to be somebody, within AEW, somebody that's jealous, somebody that has a vendetta against me, and they're going to get a hold of me.
No, it can't go.
They're going to try and cut off my hair.
Those fuckers.
And they're going to try and ruin my career. And then that's when I'm going to have the real test. That's when I'm going to have to prove to the world that there's more than just a mullet to Brian Pillman. There's more than meets the mullet,
Full promo, you're ready for it.
Oh, I was born ready. I was born ready for this. This is my story. This is the story of the mullet man.
Well, the last thing I wanted to mention, just kind of going back to people online and how they always have something to say, and the fact that you're very vocal. Sometimes people can absolutely suck when replying to things. So,
Yeah.
what would you say is one of the weirdest or most bizarre things you have read about yourself online?
Oh, it's so funny. Like the dirt sheets and people on Reddit, they think they know. And oh man, somebody was like saying that like I was like not my dad's kid or something. Like I was the Ultimate Warrior's kid or some shit, like some conspiracy theory. That was a funny one. Or the one time that they said that I showed up to a indie show and I was on, or an AEW show or something. I was on cocaine or something. And I'm like, what are these people talking about? And they don't realize that I'm just a spaz in real life and I drink a lot of energy drinks. Like they think I'm on drugs. I'm like, no, I'm just a goofy wrestler guy. Like, sorry to burst your bubble, but I don't do cocaine. And it's like, and it's just so funny to see all these silly rumors online and like, but that's when you got to realize that people are just having fun. They're using the internet. There's no real accountability on the internet, and you can hide behind a fake profile picture or you can hide behind a username, John Smith 242. It's like anybody can make a burner account. So that's one thing that, performers and even people like you that are in the spotlight is you just have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Totally.
The criticism, even the compliments, you don't want to let them get to your head because that can be equally as destructive, right? To make you feel complacent or make you feel like you're doing more than you are. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. We're in the age of information where feedback is instant, gratification is instant, and there's a lot we can do with that information and capitalize on it. But there's also a lot of misinformation, a lot of what I call noise, and noise doesn't benefit anybody, right?
Yeah. Good advice here. I feel like you're dishing out a lot of it.
Yeah, just shooting the shit with my favorite interviewer,
I tried.
Alicia
Yeah.
too.
Well, Brian, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here. I know you have a busy day ahead of you over there looking at some exciting things. So just thank you so much for taking the time.
No, it's been great. Yeah. So good luck with
Awesome.
with everything. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. To everyone watching, this has been the awesome Brian Pillman Jr. Be sure to check out aliciatoot.com for our previous chats along with more exclusive interviews and features. Bye, everybody.